what's up, guys? This is Johnny. Welcome to episode 49 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'm here this week with Chris Wah Chiu from the Journey to 8limbs.com. Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's going on, Johnny? Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So let's start off with how we met.
I've been a huge fan, huge follower for the past couple of years at least. And, I've been following your Muay Thai blogs and another blog you had as well. And it's pretty much changed my life. Like, the more I read about it, the more I became intrigued. And, I've pretty much been stalking you pretty much just because it's really inspiring.
So you were down in Phuket for a while at which gyms?
My main gym was Elite Boxing, which is now, Elite Boxing, formerly Manop Gym.
Okay, but did you ever train at Tiger Muay Thai or Phuket Top Team?
Yeah, my first time I trained at Phuket Top Team.
Okay. And did I meet you down there?
No.
I kept thinking I did. So the first time I met you was up here in Chiang Mai?
Yeah, it was Chiang Mai. It was last year. Yeah. Okay.
And so last year when we met up, what were you up to then, and what are you up to now?
So last year I was just in, as Tim Ferriss would say, mini retirement mode. I just moved out here, and I was just focusing on Muay Thai training. I was doing traveling, and I was just relaxing, just taking it easy. I wasn't really thinking about business at all, and that's pretty much all I was doing last year.
And now?
Now I'm doing a lot of things. So I'm doing the training, but not so much. Now it's pretty much e-commerce, and that's been my main focus for the last 2 or 3 months, pretty much.
Okay, cool. And so you're another member of Anton's course, AntonMethod.com, but you also do Muay Thai?
Yeah, so Muay Thai is what brought me out here. Obviously, when I read about your blog, I came out here for a month. That was about 2 years ago. I was working on Wall Street, and I was also going for my MBA at the same time. And I told my boss, I'm like, listen, I need a real vacation, not just bullshit 1 or 2 weeks. I'm like, let me get a month off, or I'm going to kill somebody. And so I came out here, trained, and yeah, I got into Muay Thai, meditation, a lot of different things. Okay,
cool. So in this episode, I want to talk about those 3 things. I want to talk about Muay Thai, I want to talk about meditation, I want to talk about marketing, I guess, e-commerce.
Sure.
Those are kind of a nice balance, and it's kind of the 3 things that were a big part of my life as well. So it's actually perfect. So you're out here in Chiang Mai now? You just made the move?
Yeah, I just got here Wednesday night. Woke up next day, made my first 2 sales, and then right now I just signed a lease for my new apartment.
Yeah, so I've seen this place. It's dope. What are you going to be paying for it?
I'm going to be paying 7,000 baht. It's a 2-bedroom, dope view, dope balcony. A lot of digital nomads that live in there. Shout out to my homeboy Ben. He hooked me up, so I just want to say thank you for that.
So have you calculated that in US dollars?
Yeah, actually I did. So as soon as I get the deposit, I was like, 7,000 baht, XC currency, $218. I was like, wow.
And this is a big place. It's a 1-bedroom apartment, and so you walk in and it's like living room and kitchen area, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's a nice balcony.
Yeah, nice balcony.
Yeah,
pretty big actually.
And then a big bedroom as well.
Yep.
And a good sized bathroom.
Good sized 2 bathrooms, and the view was ridiculous.
Bathrooms?
Yeah, 1 in the living room and 1 in the bedroom.
That's crazy. So it's a 2-bath for 200. How much?
$218.
That's insane.
7,000 baht.
So for those who want to come out here to Chiang Mai, it's a huge community now. I mean, let's talk about some of the people you've met so far. You've only been here for a few days.
Yeah. So my first day, like I said, it was almost like being back in high school. Like, I met all these new people. I was a new kid. So I met Dan from Positive Atmosphere. We went to the e-commerce meetup afterwards where you gave the speech. Met a bunch of people there. The people at Pun Space, met everyone there. And I've met so many people so far. It's really helped out.
That's cool. Yeah. So I gave a random speech the other night, and it wasn't really for any reason. It was there was a bunch of guys who met up through one of the Chiang Mai groups. There's like a kind of a digital nomad group in Chiang Mai on Facebook, and I got invited to it. I had no reason to go, so I skipped out. And then I heard it was 25 guys, the first meetup, sitting around in a dark restaurant talking about e-commerce and dropshipping, but none of them actually had a store. So I don't know what they were talking about, but and then afterwards they mentioned that my name came out a few times. I said, I'm happy to come and just share whatever knowledge I have. So a few days ago, it just happened to be Chris's second day here or something. I went to give a talk, ended up being about an hour, and I just basically just gave the basics of what I've learned about e-commerce, about dropshipping, about and it just kind of, and I did a Q&A, and we didn't record it or anything, so sorry about that. The only reason I did it is because I feel kind of almost like a bond from a lot of these guys, because a year ago I was in Chiang Mai and I was just figuring it out. And I know most of these guys are broke, you know. A lot of them are either, you know, on a budget, traveling on a budget. A lot of them are English teachers, you know, kind of making a small salary. So I knew none of them could actually afford to pay for like a coaching session or anything. And I was like, you know what? A year ago, I would have loved someone to sit down and tell me these things. So I'm just going to do it. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool. And it was fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like I said, like that's, you know, kind of giving back. And I think you definitely, obviously, you've affected me in a positive way. I think if you didn't blog about your journey, I would have had no idea about any of this stuff. And for sure, I think doing like that helps a lot of people. I think it's really cool to give back.
Yeah, and you know what's cool about that is everyone has already taken their first step. One of the reasons why, you know, there's no way I could spend time helping everyone out. Like, let's say in the U.S., there's probably, you know, 1,000 people in the U.S. thinking about it. But the fact is, they haven't even made that first step yet. You know, the first step is really to either try to get started with some kind of store or even to come out to Thailand for like a mini retirement or something, kind of like what you did. The fact is the people that are out here, they've at least made that first step where they might not be making money online yet, but they're out here, you know, even if they're still hustling and, you know, trying to build a business or they're teaching or they're just going to kind of just getting by however they can. The fact is they made that first step. So I know they're serious.
That's a huge step.
And I think that's why I didn't mind helping them because I know that, you know, they've already shown that they're, you know, they're on their way to doing it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I think just being in the location, that's one of the reasons why I moved from Phuket to here is to be surrounded by this community, to be around like-minded individuals. You know, I think just making that first step, which is scary for a lot of people, you know, especially if you come from the typical 9-to-5 world, to say, oh, I'm going to pick up and move to Thailand, like people will be crazy, you know, but it's definitely the right direction.
So tell me about your old job and where you used to live.
So I'm from New York originally. I was working on Wall Street for 8 years in a technology support position, and at the same time I was going for my MBA. So I was slaving away, you know, it was good money, you know, that's what allowed me to do the mini retirement, but it was just soul sucking, dude. Like I'd be in there at 7 a.m. just miserable, being surrounded by people that just did not want to be there either. They just made you miserable. It just sucked the energy out. And it was hustling, you know, like you get on the training floor, it'd just be absolute chaos, you know, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I had a collapsed lung actually twice when I was like 29. I think it was from the stress, you know, it happened right during when the recession came. And I think for sure that the negative energy I was around did that to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what? I almost forget about how negative a lot of people are back in the U.S. And it's supposed to be one of the most positive places in the world. You know, everyone's into the secret law of attraction. Everyone's into yoga and self-help. But it's still, I mean, most people are just unhappy. And they're overworked. They're stressed. You know, they feel like whatever they're doing is not really, you know, there's no purpose of it.
Exactly. And it's like, it's so true, like how they say money isn't happiness. You know, it can give you freedom, but it does not give you the happiness. And that's what I felt like I was missing. And that's why I wanted to do something else, come to Thailand. Yeah,
and you know, Muay Thai was the perfect, you know, first step. How did you get into Muay Thai?
So when I watched one of your motivational speeches, it was right around New Year's. And, you know, you were like, just do something new, just try new experience. And it was New Year's. I'm like, you know what? You don't make New Year's resolutions. I think they're corny. I'm like, my opinion is you should always be improving every day of the year. But I was like, you know what? Let me hold myself accountable. So I was like, you know what? Johnny does Muay Thai. Let me try Muay Thai. So I Googled a gym and I went for a free session and absolutely fell in love with smashing pads. You know, like I like to work out, but going to the gym with dumbbells it gets mind numbing. So Muay Thai became my new addiction.
And this is in New York?
This is in New York, yeah. Evolution Muay Thai.
Okay, shout out to
them.
That's what and Muay Thai is getting pretty big now. I mean, it's so for those who don't know, Muay Thai is Thai boxing, and that's where the name of your blog coming, right? What is the journey to 8 limbs?
So when I first moved here, I wanted to like just keep in touch with my friends and families to let them know. So 8 limbs is that's another name for Muay Thai because you're using your fists, your elbows, your knees, your legs, and obviously you have 2 of those. So that's where the 8 limbs comes from, and that was just my name for the blog.
All right, yeah, and so you know, yeah, Muay Thai is known as the art of 8 limbs.
Yep.
And what I know what it has taught me has been invaluable, not only for business, for health, but also just pushing myself. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I still think it's one of the hardest workouts in the world.
For sure. It's, you know, I had my first fight back in February, and that was the first time where I really took my training to another level. I took it serious. I was doing the twice-a-day sessions, you know, and it just those 2 to 3 hour sessions, one at 7 a.m. and the one at 4 p.m., you're just so, drained afterwards, and you don't have energy for afterwards. And I enjoy it though. Like, it doesn't feel like 2 hours, 3 hours when you're doing it because you're in the zone. But it's ridiculous shape, and I also like it, like you said, for the mental aspect, like pushing yourself. It's really taught me I learned how tough I can be and mentally disciplined I can be when I need to. So it's kind of giving me that confidence, which has helped with the business side.
Yeah, I agree as well. Because for me, like, you would think that by doing something like Muay Thai and competing professionally and getting into a fight, you just want to fight everyone on the street.
No.
But what that actually does, it actually humbles you, because you realize that there might be a guy half your size that comes to the gym, especially these skinny Thai guys. They might only weigh 100 pounds, but they'll kick your butt. But he also gives you that confidence where you know that even if a guy's twice your size, and let's say this big, corn-fed drunk guy at a bar, you know you can handle yourself, and you know that you actually have training, you've actually been through it. So then you're not going to get scared. So in that aspect, it's helped me a lot, kind of just in my personal presence, and and it's almost a good mixture of both being humble and being confident at the same time. Like, my girlfriend actually commented on it earlier today. Because I got angry about something, and she's like, I would hate to be a guy that you're angry with, because like they would, because the way that you look at them and the way that you point your finger, like, it makes it feel like you're gonna freaking smash it.
The death stare, seriously.
Yeah. But the thing is, I haven't gone to a physical fight, any kind of alteration, since I started doing Muay Thai.
Yeah, same with me.
But it's one of those things where, I think maybe right in the beginning, you're like, man, I wish somebody would, come up. Or I wish somebody would come up. And then they don't anymore. Maybe it's because I don't hang out at bars anymore or things like that. But, back before I trained Muay Thai, there's been plenty of situations, especially back in the U.S., where some drunk guy comes up and he wants to start a fight. Mm-hmm. But now it's one of those things where I'll never go out of my way to start one. But at the same time, people don't come up to start a fight with me. First, because I'm in better shape, but second, I think guys can kind of sense it. They're like, man, this guy, he's not scared. He's also not, he's not being aggressive, but he's not scared. Mm-hmm. There's probably a reason why he's so, he's so comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable in your skin. You got that confidence. It's like a quiet confidence. It's body language.
Yeah, but what that's done for my business, I guess, is now I know, hey, sometimes things are hard, and sometimes things punch back, and mm-hmm. you got to keep pushing forward. If you think starting a business is hard, try getting punched in the face for 5 rounds.
Seriously, like, you just have to suck it up mentally. Like you said, that's helped a lot. Like, you want to quit, your body wants to quit, but mentally you're like, no, I'm still in this game. I'm still gonna focus.
Yeah, I've made this goal, made this commitment. Whatever it takes. At first, I got to put it. It's not even just about the actual work itself. That that night that you have the fight. It's those 8 weeks beforehand mm-hmm. where you're dedicated, you're training. I mean, that's basically the exact same amount of time it takes to get your first sale after starting a store.
Exactly, and that's that those 8 weeks was super hard, and the training camp. You really have to be dedicated and focused, and exactly that's like it's similar to the business. Like, you don't know if you're gonna make that first sale, you don't know if you're gonna win the fight, but you know what? You have to put in the time and the effort. You have to put the practice in. You have to have your basics, your foundation. It's definitely similar to business.
So I remember you emailed or you Facebook messaged me on, I think it was I think you emailed me on, I think it was July 23rd or something, with your list of possible niches.
Yep.
And then a few days ago, which was almost exactly 2 months later,
yep, you
emailed me saying, hey, I'm in Chiang Mai and I just made my first sale.
So I bought Anton's Method the 19th. I have like OCD, like when it comes to like quantifying and writing things down. So I have a spreadsheet, and the 19th I bought Anton's course. Then a couple days later I emailed you, and we still have that email chain going. But it's crazy. It's like what you said, life changes quick. Within 2 months I had that first sale, and I was like, holy shit, this thing works. Like like it's.
Were you tempted to stay in the U.S. until you made that first sale?
No way. I mean, I've been living here in Phuket mostly for the last 16 months, but no, there wasn't any. I would never. At this point in time, I have no plans on going back to the U.S. Like, this is my main reason for doing this is because I want to be able to continue this long-term travel. And no, I think it's, even if you're not making sales, I think it's important, like you said, to come out here and be surrounded by this community, be around the energy.
This is a lucky time because, I mean, honestly, a few months ago, everyone left, because it was the start of the burning season where the farmers burn all the smoke. So everyone kind of started traveling. And I think I went to Saigon for a month during that time, and I went on a couple of vacations. But I always knew, I was like, you know what, Chiang Mai is my home, and the only thing that is missing it from it is people come and go. But right now, this very moment, there's probably, how many people do you think are out here?
Oh, geez, like just in Punch Space, I mean, just like it's like 15, 20 people, like I said, like I've met in the past 2 days, and I think as we get closer to the retreat, more and more people. I look on the forums, people are like, oh, I'm coming next week, like we're gonna multiply like gremlins.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's random too. That like, I mean, I'm not very good at keeping track of who's coming and going because I have my own life and do my own thing. But I always get Facebook messages or emails where people just show up and they're like, "Hey, I'm here," and I feel bad sometimes because I know, especially if it's their first trip out here, it's such a big deal for them to move halfway across the world. But to me, I'm like, oh, hey, man, welcome. Like, what's
welcome,
up?
Join the club.
Yeah.
10 other people did it today also.
Yeah, and it's like a weird world we live in.
It's definitely weird. Like what we consider, I was talking to Ben about this, to that girl at the shop, and like what our definition of normal, like for me, after like you probably the same way, like our definition of normal is so skewed from the typical 9-to-5 life. Like, oh yeah, we just picked up, we do this now. Like for other people, it's like a huge life choice, life change. Like for those people, it'll have like some culture shock, I guess. But for us, it's just like, yeah, normal day. Like just pick up and move and be a nomad.
Yeah, I mean, and congratulations for, to the people who make the move to come out. I mean, the only reason why I don't spend more time trying to like convince my friends from back home to move out. I mean, have you tried that?
So I've definitely been preaching to people, and like I said, it's the only people that have come to visit me out here so far since I moved out here the last 16 months is my parents and my youngest brother. They came back in November when I first met you. And, when I went home for a month back in June to New York, I was telling my friends, like, listen, come by, I'll show you. People was like, oh, yeah, this, that, and, but it's not until they booked that flight. But no one's come yet. And I think it's hard for people, unless they've actually been here. You can preach on all you want and you can show them videos, but until they actually come here and smell the air and meet the people, get that first massage, it's going to be hard to convince people. That flight is brutal also.
Yeah, it's a long flight, but it's worth it.
It's worth it for sure.
Like for me, it's that moment I walk outside, like I'll have to check into my hotel, take a shower, but it's that minute I walk outside, and even if I'm still in Bangkok for a night, just that first day in Thailand, especially when I'm back in Chiang Mai, and I'm just like, man, that was worth the 18-hour flight.
Definitely. Like I had such a big Kool-Aid smile when I came back into to Phuket, back in July. I came back for 3 months after traveling. I was just like, home, thank you. This is home. The
thing about Phuket is, for people in the back home, that's the place you've heard of. That's paradise.
It's certainly paradise. So that's pretty much been my home base for the past year and a half. And growing up in New York, I didn't have beaches or anything like that. So when I first came out here to Thailand, I was like, I want to live in a tropical place, be by the beaches, and it's beautiful. It's relaxing.
I was the exact same way, and I actually still recommend to people because I try to put myself in their shoes. Like I have a friend named Karen that I went to college with, and she's coming out with her husband, and she asked, where should I go in Thailand? And I said, go down to the beach, straight to the beach. I said, skip Bangkok. Don't even come to Chiang Mai unless you have more than a few weeks. Just go straight to the islands, because especially if you only have a week or two, I always encourage people to come out for longer, but if you've never been to Thailand, just go straight to the beach, because that's what you envision Thailand to be. You don't envision it to be mountains, even though the mountains are beautiful. You don't envision it to be a co-working space. Even though you want to be on a white sand beach. You want to scuba dive. You want to just chill out.
Looks like a postcard. Yeah.
So Phuket was cool, but there's a lot of downsides to Phuket as well.
Yeah, and it's like, so it's like you, I came out here for Muay Thai, and there's so many gyms out there. The way that digital nomads are attracted to Chiang Mai, Phuket's the same way, except it's for people who want to do fitness holidays, whether it's working at CrossFit, doing BJJ, coming out here to learn Muay Thai and lose a lot of weight. There's so many gyms, and they make the combinations super easy. So you can just pick up, sign up, pay one fee. But like I said, it's like for me, a lot of my friends were from the Muay Thai gym, and I couldn't really talk to anybody about, the stuff that we talk about, business. That's why I was like, I need to kind of change it up.
Yeah, and it's easy enough to just move from Phuket here. I mean, it's like a 2-hour flight.
2-hour flight, only 1,300 baht Air Asia, which is like 45
bucks,
super cheap. Exactly.
The cool thing about that is, on the flip side, you can live in Chiang Mai. If you want to spend a couple days on the beach, hop on a $45 flight, and you're on a world-class beach, one of the best beaches in the world.
For sure. It's funny because, like, when I emailed you a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh, I'm coming September 2nd. I ended up pushing my flight for 2 more weeks because I was just like, I can't leave the beaches yet. So like I stayed down there for 2 more weeks. But yeah, it's a very relaxing environment, very sabai, which means like relaxing, and it's tropical island, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. What I didn't like about Phuket, though, however, is it sounds perfect on paper because so the problem with islands that are too small is they don't have anything going. There's no movie theaters, or you can't get get anything. Like you literally sometimes have to take a boat off of the island just to buy a toothbrush. So that's the problem with the super remote island. But Phuket sounds like it's the best mix. It's still a nice island, nice beaches, but you have a mall, you have big supermarkets, you have all that. But to me, it doesn't feel like an island at all because of that.
Yeah, it's pretty developed now. Like Soi Tat, that's where you stayed. Like even after I came back after 7 months, there was new hotels, new massage places. I'm actually kind of afraid for it because I think it's gonna be overdeveloped soon. And it's gonna kind of lose that charm to it, which is a shame.
Yeah. But I mean, I understand for people that want to come out for a fitness holiday, and that's a great point they bring it up. So Thailand now has eco holidays, if people want to come and live on a farm, or they want to.
Oh, really?
They want to, like, let's say, take care of an elephant and volunteer, things like that. There's the medical holidays where people want to come out and get dental work done, or any kind of plastic surgery, or any kind of health thing. And there's new fitness holidays, which is basically people come out. I mean, some of them come out just to lose weight, but some people just want to get immersed in the fight camp. For me, I have a blog still. It's myfightcamp.com, which I don't update that often anymore, but has like years of information on there.
Very useful. And
basically, I documented all the gyms I went to, the cost of literally everything, from a glass of water to a coconut to how much the cheapest meal was, because I was on a budget. So that was really interesting to me at the time. And I actually still get people who buy the book 12 Weeks in Thailand, and they love it because for them it's that first step. So if you're on a budget and you want to come out and live as cheap as possible, or if you want to do Muay Thai or MMA or live at these gyms, that's the book to read. But now I have Life Changes Quick. That's my second book. Have you read it yet?
Yeah, so I actually bought it. I bought it right when it came out, and I only got to read the first 6 chapters. But I like it a lot, and like I said, it goes behind the details as to how you met the different people. But yeah, definitely check it out. It's been a good read so far.
Yeah, so it's almost like chapter 2 of the Johnny FD journey, I guess. Where 12 Weeks in Thailand is the first 4 years actually of my life, so it's not really 12 weeks. The reason why I called it that is I would typically come for 12 weeks at a time. I would do a 3-month fight camp, I guess. Right? I would train Muay Thai full time, try to lose as much weight as possible. I'll take on a fight, and then I would either go back to the US or I would just take a break because your body's destroyed, you're tired, you're exhausted, and you're like, okay, I'm done for a while. And I would just repeat that at a different gym every single time. And it was fun. I really enjoyed it, and it was cheap because even though a lot of these gyms are expensive. I mean, some of these gyms, just the gym membership is $300 a month, which is a lot more than the US. Like, what did you pay for your Muay Thai gym in the US, in New York?
It was about like I paid per class. It was $20 a class, but you could get a monthly membership for like I think $150, okay. And that's New York prices,
Yeah, and out here it's $300 for a month.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I always try to figure that out because, everything else is so cheap here. And it's like you would think because there's so many trainers, so many former champions teaching, it's like the market's saturated. But I really don't know why they're able to get away with charging that much.
I'm just waiting for one day for one gym to be like, all right, $100.
Start undercutting each other. That would be nice.
I think it'll happen eventually. But I think the reason why it's so much is you get a lot more out of these Muay Thai gyms and camps out here than you would back in the US. Like back in the US, they want you to go to your job and stay there until 6 p.m. and they have an hour class or a 45-minute class, and then they're like, all right, go home.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a difference between old school Muay Thai training out here, which is, I guess I want to use the term, more authentic compared to the U.S. In the U.S., you're holding pads for your partner. You're not having one-on-one time with the trainer. Here, you get to smash pads with, like I said, a former champion. He's holding it for 3 rounds. It's almost like a private lesson.
Yeah, and that's honestly, it is worth the extra price. It is expensive, though, so
for sure.
I do understand. But it's that. I think what it is that experience. So the reason why I originally wanted to go to a fight camp or MMA camp or Muay Thai camp was because I was watching The Ultimate Fighter. So that's the UFC reality show where I just dreamed. I was like, man, that would be the life. And I think that a lot of these gyms down in Phuket were just like that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like Especially like, I trained at, like I said, top team, like where you are, and you're surrounded by these fighters, and it's a really cool environment to surround yourself with.
And some of these guys you've seen on UFC or on ONE FC or just fighting on TV.
Yeah, and at Elite right now, which is like a Brazilian-owned gym, Chris Cyborg is actually training there right now. Okay. So it's pretty cool. You see UFC fighters, MMA
I've
fighters.
hung out with guys like Roger Horta.
Yeah, I met him also. Yeah,
it's a cool guy.
He said to say what's up to you, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I mentioned, I was like, I'm going to Chiang Mai. He's like, say hi to Johnny for me.
That's cool. That's cool. Shout out to Roger if you hear this. And who else is there? Like I met Hoist Gracie down there.
Wow.
I met a lot of big name guys, and become good friends with certain guys like Nick Gregorius. I can't even say his last name, but he's one of the best black belts in the world, and he just came out with a new book. I think it's called. Have you read it? It's called the Black. I think it's the Black Belt Blueprint or something. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. But it's actually a really good book if you guys are at all interested in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's really written comprehensively, and it's good for people who are just starting out. But also, if you're already been doing jiu-jitsu for a few years and you want to take it to the next level. But what I think Chiang Mai is, so Phuket is the fight camp of the fight, or the fight club even, of fighting. And Chiang Mai is the fight club of entrepreneurs.
For sure, the fight club. I like that. It's definitely like a fight club here. The first day at Punch Space, people are like, so what do you do? And I'm like, I do drop shipping, anti-meth, and people are just like rolling around. I was like, oh, another one. I'm like, yep, I'm joining the cult over here. It's like a fight club.
I mean, we're basically taking over half of the co-working space.
Yeah, everyone there is there. It's funny, Ben was like, at the new apartment we're going to, he's like, we're going to have Ben's space because now we're going to have space over there, and there's not going to be enough room at Punch Space.
Yeah, and what I'm gonna do is I made a video, video tour of Pun Space, and I'll post that up in the show notes as well. And basically, you can see facilities. It's a really nice place. And then I just quickly went around and asked what everyone did. And there was some programmers, some graphic artists, and some designers. And then it was like dropshipping. And I think it's just a good business model for people in Thailand, especially people who are getting started out, because there's almost no overhead. Like, what did you actually spend to get started?
So I was actually calculating the other day. So I've spent around roughly like maybe $1,000 on like the course, the retreat, membership for Punch Space, graphic design, marketing for PPC. So yeah, around $1,000 I've spent so far in the last 2 months.
All right. And so the first sale you made, how much was that worth?
So that first sale was about 130, and then the second one was about 120. So the first day I made like 250.
Okay, and that's in profit.
That's in in profit, like after shipping and Shopify fees.
And are you planning on making more sales?
Oh hell yeah! I've been working on my website the past couple of days. It's like even still, But like I definitely plan on. It's addictive feeling.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy if you think about it, because after 4 days like that, you made back everything you invested, and you can have the site for 5 years. And so basically after those first, 4, maybe let's say 8 sales, just to be on the easy side. After that, everything's just pretty much profit.
Everything's gravy after that, man.
It's insane.
It's insane. Yeah, I actually bought your course also, OLAB.
Okay.
I think that for sure helped me with the conversions.
Okay, cool. So I don't talk about OLAB because that's kind of for members only, but it's one of those things where I basically go through and do a screenshot of one of my demo stores and show you things that I've done to my stores to make more sales. And the only reason I don't talk about it is there's not really a point if you guys don't already have a store, especially if you're not already making sales. But it is one of those things where I really feel like it was like the best thing I can do to almost sit down with everyone and say, hey, look, these are the things I've learned to make more sales.
For sure. And everything you need to get started is, on these courses, Anytime Method, and it helped me,
So the retreat, tell us about that.
The retreat, that's October 7th. That's a week long. So Anton's putting that together, and that's going to be a week of like getting expert guest speakers, meeting other entrepreneurs. So my goal was to have my first sale before the retreat to really make it worth it and to kind of light a fire under my ass.
And you still got that first sale 3 weeks before that. So
yeah, thank you. I met that goal.
What did you do to celebrate that first goal?
What did I do? I guess, we all went to the barbecue place after the meeting, and I really don't drink that much nowadays, so I'm kind of a beer snob. So the place had good German beers. Okay. So I actually treated myself to a nice German beer with my ribs.
Nice. And the ribs are good, right?
Oh, they're really good. I usually don't eat pork that much, and I treated myself to eating pork too.
Nice. Yeah, because in New York, I went to a couple soul food places.
Yeah.
Especially kind of in Harlem. And they're good.
They're really good.
I think the ribs here are very similar.
Yeah, I was actually surprised because usually I'm like iffy about stuff like that. I'm like, they call it American, but it's not really American. So yeah, I'll definitely go back.
And the ribs are, how much was it?
It was only $3.50 baht. So
that's about $10.
Yeah.
And it includes all you can eat salad bar.
Yep.
It's a big portion.
Big
of ribs.
portions.
And that would easily be $20 in the States.
Yeah, easily. Really good food. Very tender.
Yeah.
So that's how I celebrated, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice celebration. It's good to set these goals. I always talk about setting goals. I talk about my blog all the time. You know, if you follow me on Facebook, look for Johnny FD. I'm always putting up, little memes and stuff. Like, I think today's was the reason why they don't have commercials for Lamborghinis, like why you've never seen a commercial for Lamborghini on TV is because people that can afford it aren't watching TV all day.
That's very true.
And I was like, get to work.
It's funny you said that. I started listening to I only started listening to podcasts when I started doing the dropshipping, and I listened to yours. And when I first started listening, I went through all your episodes. I saw these guests. I'm like, you know what? One of my goals is to hopefully make sale and be a guest here on Johnny's show. And thank you so much. I feel honored. But it was just really, that was definitely one of my goals as well, to make it, to be here.
Yeah, and you know what? Everyone listening at home, that is a very attainable goal because really all you have to do is have an interesting story, be successful, and actually travel. So if you come out to Chiang Mai and you have an interesting story and you're actually successful, you're not just, there's a lot of people who actually want to interview. I'm kind of, in the back of my mind, I'm just kind of waiting for them to start making sales or start being successful. And it doesn't even have to be dropshipping. It can be with anything. There's one of the last episodes was Miriam. She became successful with doing voiceovers. She's the intro of this podcast. And a year ago, there's no way I would have had her on the show because she wasn't making any money yet. But now she, actually is, it's a real business for her now. And she's making pretty good money. She has enough to fly back to France and just live there, not even work. Just do a couple of voiceovers here and there. And that was an interesting story, so that's why I had her on.
Cool.
My goal actually is to get my girlfriend on soon because she quit her job. She used to teach, and now she's helping me out in the morning with my e-commerce store, and then afternoons she's working on her own things.
Oh, nice.
She's learning about dropshipping. And that way she can start her own store. But in the meantime, we had made a Udemy course together, which we, the only reason why we did that is because, it was basically, there's only 3 ways I know how to make money online. One is to write an ebook, which takes so much freaking time, and you actually don't make that much money from it. So it's one of those things that I only suggest people do if they actually are passionate about it and don't really care about the money. The second is the dropshipping store, which I know works, but it also takes a lot of time. It's one of those things some people make it work just working on it, in their free time. But even though for those people, they have to really want it to work for to really make money from it, or to really even get it live. Like I knew there's one guy that was working a 40-hour-a-week job, and then he'd work on a store afterwards at night, and then on Sundays he'd stay at home and work on it, and he made it work. Now he's making enough where he quit his old job, and now he's out here in Thailand. But for most people, it's one of those things where this first 2 months you have to put in the work. How many hours were you putting in?
So I was looking at my sheet today, and in the beginning, I was doing 15 to 30-hour days. And then in the last 4 or 5 weeks, I looked at my spreadsheet, and I was doing on average 35 to 40 hours. But the thing is, let me just say this, I don't feel like it's, if I've been putting 40 hours, it's the long days, but, I can take a break, go to the beach, work out, meditate, and then go back to work, do 3 or 4 hours, bang it out, and then do something else. It's not like where I got a boss looking over me at an office job, and I'm stuck there. Like I said, the 40 hours, I've actually enjoyed this whole process, this journey of learning all the skills. So it really doesn't feel like a 40-hour work week for me, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. And, but it's still one of those things where, you kind of have to put in the time. And she didn't have the time. She was working 40 hours a week teaching. So the only time she even had time was either an hour at night, which I didn't want her working. I wanted, because I had just got done working the whole day. So I'm like, let's go for a nice dinner. Let's chill out. Let's watch some TV. Just relax. So that was kind of off limits. And the only time we actually had time was Saturdays, because that's a weekend. We had nothing planned. And Sundays, it's good to take a day to chill out and relax too. So we don't want to work the whole weekend. So what actually made sense at the time was to make that Udemy course together. So if you guys haven't checked it out, it's called Small Talk. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. But basically, it's something that we did over 2 or 3 months. Actually, it was it took a lot more time than we thought, because it's a lot of videos, a lot of editing, a lot of writing for it. But it's up. The last episode, 48, we talked about Udemy course marketing. We interviewed a guy named Grant who gave us a lot of great tips. So now we have a ton of users on it, but we're still not making that much money from it yet. So our goal is, I'm all about setting goals. Our goal is to make $500 from the course, which, it's a big and small goal at the same time. It's kind of retarded that I get so excited making $20 a day from this course when I'm making a lot more from my dropshipping store. But why I get excited is, number one, it's something I did with my girlfriend, so it benefits both of us. And second, it's kind of a whole new stream.
Sure,
it's a whole new stream of income.
Diversifying.
So far we've made about $100 each from it.
Wow.
Which is okay, right? It's not a lot of money, but it's a whole nother stream.
Sure.
And the best thing is the reviews have been good. So 2 episodes ago, I think it was 47, I gave away some coupon codes. If you guys haven't checked it out, I'll have a link to it on this one too. This is episode 49. But basically, you can go to udemy.com/smalltalk, and I think it's TLAB2 gives you 80% off. So if you guys want to check that out. And what the course is about is basically, how to have a strike up conversation. I mean, it's one of those skills where I sometimes forget how important that is.
Sure, especially networking.
Yeah, cause especially now it comes pretty easy. We're pretty outgoing people. Larissa's super outgoing, she's super friendly. But there's a lot of people that travel, or business people that, if you tell them to approach a stranger on the street, no way.
They especially being an entrepreneur, being your own business, you're pretty much marketing who you are, and you always want to be conscious of that. So you need to be able to have these social skills to talk to people, to look them in the eye, have that confidence, that body language. And, Small Talk, the course, which I actually signed up for, I'll leave a review when I
thanks.
do.
I appreciate it.
It's super important to have those social skills. Even that's not something you learn in school, but you definitely need to have it to be successful in the business world, know how to talk to people.
Yeah, so we have that going on. And my goal is for us to get, be successful enough with that, with e-commerce, with her own dropshipping store too, and have her on as a guest. Because, as nice as it is, right now, like when she becomes, independently successful as well, that really opens up doors for our relationship, being able to travel, be able to, I guarantee it, by this time, next year or by next summer, our goal is we want to move to Europe for the whole summer.
Wow.
Because this time she was nice enough to let me go on my own.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was hanging out there, and she was here working, slaving away. But the whole time I was there, I was thinking, man, you know what? As nice as these castles are in Prague, it'd be nicer if I actually brought her out here and we could enjoy it together. So that's the goal. Next summer, 2015, Team LJ, Johnny and Larissa are going to be out there taking over Europe together, making money, and both being location dependent. I think that's the next step, right?
Sure.
It's like the first step was trying to get enough money for yourself, and then the next step is have either your friends, your girlfriend, your family, your loved ones all successful. Yeah,
definitely. You guys are going to be like the Jay-Z, Beyonce, You're going to be that superpower couple.
I like it.
But yeah, it's like what Snoop Dogg said, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Like it's better to have money and enjoy it with your friends and family, because I think that's just as important as well. You want to be able to enjoy it with them.
Yeah, and that's actually another reason why I had the blog, the podcast, because being an entrepreneur is lonely. We're lucky that we have such a good community in Chiang Mai, but if you think about it, even back in New York, let's say you were working on your dropship store back in New York, how many people out of the 8 million people in New York do you actually know that can you sit down with and talk to about this?
Exactly. Not many, because everyone's in that typical life script of, an office 9-to-5 job, and it's hard to bounce ideas and talk about conversations that we would have right now.
Yeah, even in New York, even in San Francisco, Silicon Valley, you would think it'd be easier there. I don't know anyone there that I could talk to about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of foreign, and people, it's not, like I said, it's not the typical life script that people go, so you really can't, bounce ideas around with people, and you got to be able to surround yourself, I think, to grow.
Yeah, and it's hard because, like Larissa had lunch with two friends the other day, and we actually kind of had it was hard because she came back. She went there all excited. She's like she told them, she said, hey guys, I quit my job. I'm doing my own thing now. I'm excited, and they just started bombarding her with questions.
Yeah,
they're like, how are you gonna pay rent? How are you gonna, what about visa runs? What about your work permit? What about savings? What about Christmas holidays? What about, and they basically just bombarded her with questions.
Yeah, that can be tough. It'll kind of blow this, your motivation. You don't want that.
Yeah, and they weren't doing it to demotivate her. To them, they were concerned friends, with legitimate questions. But that's the same thing. When I was back in the U.S. and I was like, hey guys, I'm moving out to Thailand to do scuba diving, same questions. They're like, what are you gonna do 4 years from now? I'm like, I don't know. Like, stop bothering me about this stuff. And they're like, but what about this? What about this? And it just becomes too much. It almost makes you not want to move.
Yeah, like I said, I got that a couple of times back home. Like, when are you gonna grow up? Like, jokingly, but I'm like, dude, like, why would I want to grow up and live a boring life like that? Like, it's...
Yeah. So my old friends on Facebook never comment on any of my stuff anymore because they're just, we're just so different now. And I almost feel like part of it is we kind of outgrown each other, and the other part of it, they just don't want to hear it, right? So the only time they do comment is they always ask, when are you coming back? Every single time. Because when I'm back there, they're happy. Yeah. But when I'm here, they don't even comment. They don't leave, they don't like it. So this time, I commented back saying, I'm not. I said, I'm not going back for Christmas this year because I'm going to meet my parents out in Taiwan. And because they're going to go on a vacation. So I figured, why would go back to the U.S., spend the holidays when I can meet them out there? And it's close enough. And I said, then next summer, I'm going to go to Europe. I was like, why would I go? I was like, unless one of you guys are getting married, I'm not going back to the U.S.
Yeah, and I get that question too. And to be honest, one of the reasons why I'm trying to set this location independent lifestyle is because I actually want to spend half my time in Asia and the other half in South America. So I really don't, plan on going to the U.S. and just visiting. I'm just like, maybe as I'm going through there, but I'm not going to go back permanently.
Yeah. What countries do you like in South America?
So I only got to go to Peru for 6 weeks this past April, but I want to do like 3 to 4 months, start in Central America, go to Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Panama, then go to Colombia, Argentina, Peru, Ecuador, Brazil, hit up all the countries.
Okay, nice. Any specific reason why you like South America?
I went to Peru for an ayahuasca retreat to work with these plant medicines, and that's pretty big stuff over there. And people are very friendly. It's like here, and the cost of living can be a bit cheaper. So a lot of nature. I did the trekking to Machu Picchu on the Salcante trek.
Cool. Was that sick?
Yes, it was probably the highlight of my trip. Okay. 5 days in the wilderness. But
so yeah. I would do that. I would go to Peru for the Machu Picchu. I would go there for lomo saltado and all the other good Peruvian food.
Oh gosh, it's so nice, good, right? So good.
But then I would want to go to Ecuador, and I'd want to hit up the Galapagos.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think that'd be cool to go scuba diving out there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
See some of those reptilians. Actually, one of my goals, so I don't actually know that much about Galapagos. I don't know if it's one of those places that are super hyped up or people like it because it has all this history, all the science history behind it. But I've been listening to some shows about about the tortoises out there, and it'd be cool to check out. But one place I really want to go that's actually out here in Southeast Asia is Komodo.
Oh yeah, the Komodo dragons. Oh, those look badass, dude.
That's on my goal. All right, I have a huge list of goals, and it's almost stupid because they're not all monetary goals. Actually, no, yeah, all of them are monetary goals, but they're not like I want X amount in my bank account. They're like, I want X amount from this new project. Mm-hmm. So like, let's say if I'm already making $3K a month from one of my dropshipping stores, my goal isn't okay. Now I want to make $4K. My goal would be now I want to make 1,000, but from a second store, and to me that's more exciting than making another 1,000 from one of my existing. Sure. Just because it's a new venture.
Yep. New ball game.
So for once we make $250 from our Udemy course, me and Larissa are gonna go out and buy some gym shoes. What? And it's like one of those. It's retarded because the gym shoes we actually want are Converse, which are only about $30. They're the low top, flat soled,
like the old school looking ones, yeah.
Converse. And the only reason we want that is we've been doing a lifting program called Strong Lifts 5x5. Shout out to the guy who made it. It's a free app, so you can check that out. It basically what it does, it's a combination of squats, deadlifts, rows, overhead press, and one other thing I don't remember now, but it's basically these 5 exercises that you do, and having those Converse are basically flat shoes with no cushioning, no heel, so it's just better for your form. Mm-hmm. And we've been wanting it, we've both been wanting it, and I mean I could easily just go out and buy a pair, but by having that goal in place, it forces me to work my butt off and work harder, and so I can hit that goal and then go out and buy those shoes. And then every time I wear those shoes, I'm like, yep, this is these are the shoes. This is the gold watch. This is the shoes.
It's good to have reminders. It gives you that motivation for sure. You need that. Yeah,
and there's so and it's one of those things where if you go out and just buy something, like you don't really appreciate it.
No,
but if you work towards it, that's when you appreciate it.
It makes it that exactly, because you realize how much time and effort, blood, sweat, and tears. Like you see all that hard work's paid off, and it's manifests into this physical object that you can now hold in your hands.
So actually, sitting here right now, I can already think of 4 things that were goals of mine. You're trying to guess what they are?
4 things that you physically have
that you can see right now. 4 things.
Obviously the watch.
Okay. So this watch actually isn't the original gold watch.
Really?
Yeah, it looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
So the first one was a Citizen, and so for those who don't know, it's the Gold Watch Challenge. That was when I was trying to be a Thai millionaire. It was I wanted to save $30K in the bank. It started with I think I actually had a couple thousand already because my store was already up and running. But I wanted $30,000 because that's a Thai $1 million. And I was like, I'm gonna go out and buy a gold watch. So I went out and bought a nice Citizen watch. I was happy. And then I realized I can't swim in this watch because it's they're not designed for swimming. And I was like, I want another one, but I want it to be able to swim with it. I want one that can go to 100 meters. So I had my eye on a Seiko watch, and and it wasn't that expensive either. But I was like, you know what? Instead of just going out and spending a couple $100 on it, let me have it be another goal. So that was my Vietnamese billionaire goal. Which is, it's about 50,000. So it's not, you're not really a billionaire, but it's a Vietnamese dong billionaire. And that's when I went out and bought this watch.
Nice.
Yeah, and I don't think I even told anyone about it. Not a single person in the world realizes that it's a different watch. They look exactly the same.
But hey, it helped you achieve those goals, It gives you the motivation.
Yeah. So what else is there?
I'm looking. Laptop?
Yep. So this MacBook Air, I wanted so bad. When I first started my dropship store, I was, if you guys want to know the story about the struggles I went through, lifechangesquick.com, that's the new book. But with this laptop, I was building my first store on a broken laptop that the screen was literally falling off. You could see the glue in it. And when eventually that gave out and I had to put it into the shop for repair, I had to borrow a laptop. And, so shout out to a guy named Cameron Parker who let me borrow his old PC. And I was like, it was justifiable. I was like, I want to buy a new laptop. MacBook Air is out. It's not that expensive. It was like $1,000 at the time. And I was like, I need it. But I did not let myself buy it until I made $1,000 in profit from my dropshipping store. I said, if I can't make this work, I'm not going to go out and buy something that in hopes it'll make it work. Yeah. So I worked my butt off on borrowed laptops and broken computers to make that first sale.
You're a patient man. I would have thrown the computer out and just bought it.
I was literally with one hand, I would hold up the screen because the glue resin was coming off. And I would only be able to type with one hand.
Oh my god!
And this is what Muay Thai taught me. I was like, what? Sometimes, one of your shoulders get thrown out, or one of your shins is so bruised from checking kicks, or you break an ankle while you're in the fight. It's like you have to just keep. You got 8 limbs, right?
Yep. Use a different one.
Yeah.
Just keep trucking.
And that's what it is. And the last one is actually this tattoo. Nice. So for those who can't see, I have a jellyfish on my right forearm, and actually I'll put the picture of this on the show notes. But the reason, so basically the history behind this is I wanted a tattoo. I wanted a visible tattoo. I had a couple on my back and on one on my chest, but you can't see it if I wear a t-shirt. So I can always go back to the corporate world. I can always say, all right, this didn't work out. Let me go back and get a job. But then I told myself, I said, okay, if I can go, I forgot what the actual number of months was. I think it might have been like a 6-month goal or something, or even a year ago. I said, if I can make enough money doing something that's not a normal job and be able to support myself, then I will get a arm tattoo that's visible. And that way I know that if I ever need to, I can always have an alternative way of making enough money to survive. And so when I first started working as a scuba diving instructor, I think I was a dive master at the time, and I was like, you know what? I don't necessarily want to be a dive master for the rest of my life, but if I needed to, I could. I can make enough money to get by for the rest of my life working as a dive master. So as soon as those 6 months were up, and I was like, all right, well, this could be a new career. I went out and got the jellyfish, and that was kind of the symbol of it.
Dude, that's awesome. Congrats. I always like to hear stories about special tattoos like that. It's beautiful. Where'd you get it done?
I got this done in Koh Tao.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy named Boo with the Siam tattoo. Shout out to him. And this is actually made with bamboo.
Oh, he did bamboo.
Yep.
Nice.
So it's hard to tell because it has shading on it. And, so episode 49 show notes, if you guys want to follow along. But most of the time, I don't think there's that many people in the world who can do shading with a bamboo tattoo. And what a bamboo tattoo is, basically they have a long bamboo stick and they just poke at your arm, tap, 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 tap. Instead of using a machine gun or was it a machine gun?
Something like that.
Tattoo gun.
Sorry,
I'm
yeah.
like blah blah blah. So instead of using a tattoo gun, they do the traditional way, and which is really really cool. But you can't really make it look as nice usually. Like usually the details not as nice. So this guy was really legit. I've recommended him to a few people who wanted to get Thai tattoos, and they've all loved it.
Yeah, I got one also my first trip. I got the Hanuman saying right here, and it's like it takes a long time. Mine was 6 hours, but it's tap tap tap.
You know what? I think tattooing was another thing that gave me I don't know if it's patience or tolerance for going through something that you don't like to go through, but it's taught me a lot of life lessons. I think before I used to never want to go through any kind of struggle or any kind of pain because that's naturally, as humans, you just want to shy away from it. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of things in life that you kind of have to go through that struggle, and by committing to getting a tattoo, it's one of those things where you can't just say no, stop, this hurts. You have to, if you say I'm gonna get this big full back tattoo and it's gonna take you 8 hours, guess what? It doesn't matter how difficult it becomes. It doesn't matter how badly you want it to stop. You've committed. You got to see it to the end.
Sure.
And then not right afterwards, because right afterwards you want to pass out. But I would say let's say a week later or a few months later. Actually, usually a few months later. You look back on your back, you kind of forget about the pain, and you still remember that it was a lot to go through and a lot to endure. But now hey, as uncomfortable as it was at the time, it didn't kill me. And now I have this tattoo for the rest of my life. I have this reward. I have something to show for it for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. So I think that also taught me a lot about how to just endure the struggle and go through the process, knowing what you want at the end.
Sure, I was the same way. When he started on my hip, and I just thought, what the F did I just sign up for? And I'm like, I can't back out of it now. Like, here you started, like, when we're gonna have a half tattoo, like, no, I gotta stick with this. And yeah, it just taught me to just like grin and bear it, just get through it, do what you have to do.
And that's the life lesson for life, right?
For sure. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was doing meditation at the time, and I was practicing, so I did like the first 20 minutes I was just meditating, lying down when he started. But in terms of like struggle, I think one thing I learned out here is kind of how to develop my mental strength, and meditation has helped a lot. Now, you did a meditation retreat as well.
Yep.
Yours was pretty hardcore, Swan Mock, right?
Yep.
So that's pretty hardcore, and that's it's called a Vipassana retreat, and that's 10 days at a temple. You're not allowed to talk. You can only eat twice a day. You're waking up at 4 a.m. You're meditating all day. You go to sleep around 10 p.m. Separate guys and girls, and your life is dictated. But in terms of life lessons, when I did mine here at Wat Ramaphong, which is like 10 minutes away, and that I think if you're coming out here in Thailand, I think that's definitely something that you should look into, because that'll teach you about developing your mental intelligence, your mental strength, and that'll go far in your life.
Yeah, I don't think I ever want to do it again, but that really did teach me a lot. I got a lot of lessons out of it. Actually, I wrote about it briefly in 12 Weeks Thailand, because it was just a big pivotal moment of my life. It's basically 10 days you are living as a monk in a monastery, and you basically don't have that much food, you don't have that much sleep, you don't have any input, any entertainment at all, no music, no reading, no TV, nothing. And it's just you and your brain. and your goal for those 10 days is to shut off your brain. And it's hard. It's really hard. I mean, most people can't shut off the brain for a minute. I mean, try to just, pause this and just meditate for 5 minutes and then come back to this. I would almost guarantee for 99% of the people, you just can't do it.
I need to check Facebook. I need to eat. I need to do this. We're always distracted.
Yeah, so imagine you're going for 10 days, no talking, complete silence, just you and your mind.
And it helps. It helps a lot because you're forced in this position, and you'll learn about yourself. You'll learn about your thoughts and how much they affect us. And especially when you're a new entrepreneur, you need to have that core belief in yourself, and you need to not be afraid. When you go through this camp, you learn, like I said, you learn about yourself and how to deal with these situations, because life's not going to be all rainbows. You're going to have up and down, but if you have the right attitude, it can help out a lot.
Yeah, so it was definitely one of those things that I'm glad I did it once in my life. It's one of those things where there's a lot of things now that I'm glad I went through that I never want to go through again. But I still would recommend it to others because I learned so much from it.
For sure.
And I think I wrote down the 10 life lessons that I learned from that in the first book. And it's one of those things that I should actually pull it out and review it again, because sometimes it's kind of it's easy to forget.
For sure, it's invaluable. I actually was thinking about doing it again this year now that I'm living up here, because it's been once a year. It's almost like doing a detox for your brain. People go through physical detoxes. I think it's super healthy.
And they're super cheap too. Like what's the cost of it here?
So this one was only 2,000 baht. It's all donation based.
$60.
And that includes basic living accommodations, all your meals. The food actually surprisingly was good. I would always go for seconds. I probably gained weight in the retreat. But yeah, you just have to bring like white clothes, but everything is provided, and it's donation based. So 2,000 baht, $60. Well worth it.
Yeah, the one I went to, I think it was exactly the same. It was also donation based. So for 10 days of food, accommodation, and everything, literally every single thing taken care of. I mean, you're living very basic because you're living a monk, but it's a $60 donation, and for 10 days. I mean, that's the best deal in the world.
Yeah, it's like I said, it'll help with all aspects of your life, your personal relationships, your business mindset. I think, and like I said, that's one of the reasons why I moved out here to Thailand, was to work on the inside of myself as to the physical outside, because back home in New York, you're always rushing around. We don't have the time or energy to work on, say, listen, I want to change my core belief system about who I am, my negative thought patterns. And, once you have these in place, everything else will fall into place.
Yeah, and so the other thing that's free out in Thailand that I don't know if a lot of people know about is all the tattoos I have on my back and on my chest and my arm. These are all free.
Really?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, there's a monastery in about an hour outside of Bangkok that gives you, that is basically donation based as well. They just give you free tattoos.
I didn't know you went out there. What Prabang was it?
What? I can't pronounce it. Prabang.
Yeah, they got the big tattoo festival in March.
Okay, yeah, you know what? I've been meaning to go out to that one year.
I want to go check it out too.
Every year there's a tattoo festival where everyone who has ever gotten a tattoo there is supposed to go back once a year. And I mean, there's like thousands of people with their shirts off, and they chant and just like release like the
animal
spirit
that you are.
So if you have a tiger on your back, the tiger spirit comes out. If you have an elephant, the elephant energy comes out. And I've seen videos of it. I've seen a documentary, and it looks insane. So I would love to go out there for that.
Sure, we should definitely. I'm down. I got a monkey, so maybe I'll turn into a monkey.
You never know. All right, so let's wrap up this episode. If you guys want any of this kind of information, Chris's blog is journeyto8limbs.com. This is episode 49 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you look at the show notes for that, I'll have links to basically everything that we talked about, as well as a photo. And what else did I mention? I mentioned my books. So if you want to read, I have 2 books now. The first is called 12 Weeks in Thailand. That one's all about Muay Thai, MMA, a little bit about scuba diving. It has a chapter in there about the meditation camp, chapter in there about the tattoos. And basically it's called The Good Life on the Cheap. So it's, version 1 of Johnny, 4 years of living out here, going through all that. And you know what? It's more written like a guidebook to Thailand. But if you have any interest in coming to Thailand, or you just want to know that first part of the story, read that book. My new book that just came out, it's called Life Changes Quick. And that's about this last year journey of discovering the digital nomad community, discovering CrossFit, discovering, the paleo diet and really sticking to it. And basically how I went from, having a pretty comfortable life to deciding, you know what, it's time for a new chapter. And now I need to actually make some real money. I actually want a real relationship now. I actually want to get in shape now. I want to start traveling outside of Thailand. And this book is how I did it.
Awesome. It's definitely an inspiration, man. Like I said, you're probably one of my role models, that I've always looked to and to help set me goals. It's thank you for sharing that, Johnny. Your
thank
journey.
you for coming out and be on the podcast. So peace out, guys, and I'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.